America.
Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
These employees that are always wanting, a pat on the back, I don't have time for it. You think people are running by me telling me what a good job I'm doing on this show?
Hi-yo!
Jeff Lutz.
Never. And there's a reason for it. You're not doing that good of a job.
Oh, shocking. Monstrous.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Listen to this if you can.
Welcome back. It is hour number 2, the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH Radio. Max Fire Producing, Engineering, 869-1240. The phone number. That's the IHOP hotline. They're featuring pumpkin spice cold foam beer. So get out to IHOP and give that a shot. All right, the Chiefs and Eagles tonight in what promises to be a Taylor Swift game as well.
She's not going to be there.
She's not?
No.
I just can't believe it.
She had to postpone her Brazil concert because of the heat, and someone passed away a few nights ago, and so that concert's now tonight.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Oh well. Still kind of a big game even without Taylor.
Pretty big.
I'm the only one to pick the Chiefs, and I asked off the air if you guys were pulling for me because everyone else picked the Eagles. And if the Chiefs cover, we have an 0-8 week in our picks.
I love it.
For Jason Duda.
How sad.
That is so awesome. So I can't tell you how much I want the Chiefs to be.
Well, now when you put it like that, I mean, I don't have a ton to gain. I'm already 6-1. So.
And you only picked it for a point.
Yeah, so who cares?
Everybody's had a great week except Duda, who just went opposite on everything, and he's 0-7.
That's
going
crazy.
into this game tonight. I texted with him earlier. I didn't mention this, nor did he. You'd think he'd say, you know what, I do stink.
I mean, at some point he has to face
At some
the
point
music.
you got to just not say, well, it's wait till Thanksgiving. Well,
I mean, it's here. This is the week. So he better come with something, or he needs to reframe his entire existence, really.
0-7. You'd have to.
And these games were not difficult.
Well, every game's difficult.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't that hard to figure out KU was going to cover 8.5. It wasn't that hard to figure out Washington was going to beat Oregon State. I mean, it's just some of the.
Listen, those games were close.
I know. Washington had a big lead.
All these games were relatively close except Georgia. Georgia was the one, and he picked Tennessee.
And Arizona hammered Utah.
Which is an idiotic pick, by the way.
It's awful.
Yeah, but you didn't know Arizona was going to hammer Utah.
No, that wasn't an easy pick, but I'm just saying.
That's not an easy pick
This
at all.
wasn't a terribly difficult week.
It was a difficult week.
Baltimore over Cincinnati, not that difficult.
That's a difficult game.
It wasn't.
We didn't know Joe Burrow was going to get hurt.
I mean, still.
And they were right there before he did get hurt. Pittsburgh-Cleveland might have been the worst NFL game I've ever watched. And I watched it.
Pittsburgh
At least
is
I
just
watched it in the second half.
Brutal.
Well, they don't. Their defense is outstanding, and they've got a good running back. But Kenny Pickett is.
They've got two good running backs.
Kenny Pickett's terrible. The Cleveland quarterback, what's the kid's name?
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
He was terrible until the final drive that resulted in a field goal. He made 5 completions.
Yeah, that's
in that drive.
Kind of shocking.
And got them into field goal range, and I was happy for him, even though I missed the pick. I was happy for that kid. But that was an abysmal game. Elsewhere, the Lions had to do everything they had in them to come back and beat the Bears. Chargers lost another close game.
But a game that they probably should have pulled out.
They're terrible.
Their coach should have been fired. I mean, I don't know how he lasts.
The Raiders have been better under the new coach.
Yeah, how about that? You jump off?
I may jump back on. I like the way they play.
But they didn't do much yesterday.
They don't have any offense. They're starting O'Connell at quarterback. At least he's involving Devontae Adams more now. And they did limit Miami, that high-powered Miami team. They kind of, they played okay. 20-13, they lost.
Yeah, that's weird because Tua had like 330 yards. Tyreek went 10 for 167 or something like that.
146. Get real.
You sure?
Yep. The
Whatever.
Jags, and of course I didn't play Trevor Lawrence on my fantasy team. He passed for 2, ran for 2, and they handled the Titans. The Texans, the Cardinals are suddenly better with Kyler Murray.
No kidding.
But the Texans held them off, and they're now 6-4. So interesting. And the Jets were awful against the Bills.
When do
Just
Houston?
awful.
Well,
How about
duh.
Denver?
What have they won? Like 5 in a row
They're
now.
5-5, and I think you owe Sean Payton an apology.
Do I?
I do. You know what? I think you do.
Bucket hats? Are
he
we?
can coach, and that makes a difference.
It does, and it didn't look good for them. Did they start 0-5?
No, they started 0-3 and 1-6, 1-5. Now they're 5-5, and they've beaten Green Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, and Minnesota. I mean, that's a
that's
pretty
legit.
impressive run.
No kid, no doubt. I'm not.
So again, you're struggling with your words again.
I am.
Yes.
How do you figure?
Show some respect for people
Good job, Sean.
that earn it. I don't know what you have against Sean Pate.
Well, Kevin James played him in a movie, so that
I love
already
Kevin James.
that already puts him down.
I don't like you. I don't like it when you talk poorly about Kevin James.
Oh, sorry.
Starred in a sitcom for many years, one that I still watch, and I have
That has
great.
aged about as poorly as a
it's
show
so funny still.
can age.
It's so funny. King of Queens we're talking about. And you're having when you're gone, I miss you.
Thank you.
And when you're here, it's like, go. So here's what I think should happen.
I just sit in the corner.
You and
Well, you
Shannon
and-
are a wonderful couple. You have a great daughter. If you move to Connecticut, I think I'd always be having fond thoughts.
Okay, let's do it.
I'd always be going, man, I wish Jeff would come home. Debbie, call him. See if they're thinking about coming home at some point. I think it'd be a wonderful way to go through.
I do too. I'm thinking about doing. Shannon won't move to Indianapolis with me.
Oh, you're thinking about Indianapolis?
Not right now, but in the future.
Well, right now it seems more conducive to my mental health.
Perhaps
Seriously, you're gone, and I'm like, I texted you, right?
a couple times.
Where you been? What you doing? And like.
And then some sports takes. You're just off the bandwagon.
What do you mean?
You don't appreciate me anymore because of some of my.
I don't like the Twitter stuff.
Oh please.
No, I really don't. I don't
Why?
like to see that level of discourse. I just don't.
It's who cares?
But I don't.
But it's football.
But I don't like it. I don't like the constant barrage of negativity. And
I don't do
I'm
that.
really considering. Oh, you do some of that.
But not a barrage.
I'm considering not doing Twitter. I don't know that it's good for anyone. It's just a constant whining and
It brings out the worst in everybody.
disagreement. And what's the purpose? What is the purpose?
Twitter brings out the worst in everybody.
Then why do it?
I don't know. Because we've lost our
Why
way
don't
as
you just read it and not tweet?
Because tweeting, I mean, I tweeted about football. I'm not.
But it's not. I don't know that it's necessary.
Well, then no one
I
would
don't know.
ever.
What's the purpose of?
Why, if you're only
Let me
going to
ask you this: what is the purpose? What's the underlying thing you're trying to gain by pointing out that Oklahoma State, in your view, is usually a fraud? What
Nothing.
are you trying to have people go? Man, this guy's inside. I need to
just
really.
just putting my opinion out there. But that's what people do, right? My opinion doesn't mean anything. Literally, it
But
means
it angers
nothing.
people who are
Why?
because you have
I'm nobody.
You have a platform on a radio show.
Okay, but
So why? You get plenty of opportunity on this show to share those opinions. Why do you? It seems
So I can't
it
reinforce
almost,
them on Twitter?
It feels a little bit like you're seeking attention.
Well, every tweet is seeking attention. Every Facebook post is seeking attention. Every Instagram picture, every activity on quote-unquote social media is an
So we
attention.
didn't used to seek attention.
Well, don't put it.
What
Don't
did
act like it's
what
just.
did I do to seek attention?
Tell me you after
20
you
years ago.
Tell me after you make a Facebook post, you don't check it for likes every 30 seconds.
No, I check it to see if anybody's commented. I don't care about like.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Of course you do.
I like the to hear what or to read what others.
Is that
think.
not attention?
No, it's a like today I talked about how we're watching All in the Family.
Very sad.
Why is that sad?
Ish.
See, there it is
Talk
again.
about a show that's aged poorly.
No, it's aged very well. It's a look inside what America was doing in the 70s and some of the things that needed to be confronted and the genius of Norman Lear to make it happen. And the incredible talents of that cast. Absolutely incredible. Even my wife says to watch Carol O'Connor act and play Archie Bunker is incredible. And to watch Jean Stapleton, an accomplished Broadway actress, look at her resume sometime.
If I had a voice, I'd do that impression, but I'm not going to.
No, you don't. We don't care what your impression.
I can't do
And
the
it's not
voice.
funny anyway. And
No,
it's
I can't do it.
All it is you're seeking attention.
I can't get
it's
there.
seeking attention.
I can't
There
get,
it is.
Can't
see,
do the.
See? Give him his attention, everybody.
Can't get to that note. Misty heard it though. She's staring at me.
So there it is.
There it is.
I've made my point as well as I can.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get the necessary attention that you desire.
Well, I don't know, but I'm not out for attention.
Everybody's out
No,
for
I'm not.
attention.
I don't think I am. I'm just out to have a good
If
time.
you have any kind of public persona,
I'm out
which
to
includes
have a
Twitter.
good time. So Thanksgiving Day coming up Thursday. We've lamented the schedule in the NFL in the past, and it's not the best in the world. Green Bay at Detroit. I'm certainly Detroit. You know they're 8-2 for the first time since. Take a guess.
1949.
No, 1962.
Okay.
You know what the number one show in the country was in 1962?
1962. The
The
number
most
one.
viewed show in America.
The number one show in the. I don't know.
A legendary sitcom that starred Buddy Ebsen, Irene Ryan, Max Baer Jr., and Donna Douglas. The Beverly Hillbillies.
All right.
Gosh, I'm good. You got to be over there right now going, man,
not at all.
this man's knowledge.
Would that be like me talking about who starred in Friends?
This man's knowledge.
It's not that
You
much.
didn't know. Even when I said Buddy Ebsen, you didn't know.
Right, because just like someone born 30 years from now won't know David Schwimmer. It's not a big deal.
Everybody should know that. Detroit and Green Bay, the early game at 11:30, followed by Washington, Dallas. That'll be a blowout. And then the night game on NBC, the 49ers at Seattle. I suppose that has some intrigue. Although, where's Seattle? They're 6-4.
Fading.
Do we believe in them? They lost to the Rams yesterday.
They always lose to the Rams, or is it the other way around?
They've lost both of their games this year to the Rams. Their other losses to the Bengals and the Ravens. They win those two games against the Rams. They're 8-2.
Well, even one, they're 7-3, which is much.
I don't care about
much
7-3.
better.
I'm talking about you got to beat the Rams.
Okay, but no one goes 0-16, and no one goes 16-0.
Yeah, but you can beat the Rams. The Rams are not good.
Well, then in that case, everybody should beat the
So my
Rams.
point is, they should be 8-2.
Sean McVay can coach a little bit too.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Put him with the Broncos, maybe they'd be 6-4.
The Rams aren't any good. No, the Rams aren't any
Right,
good.
they have no players
They're 4-6.
except Aaron Donald. And Cooper Kupp is injured.
They had
again.
lost to the Steelers, Cowboys, and Packers. They've had a tough schedule. So I'll cut them a little slack. Their losses are to the 49ers, Bengals, Eagles, Steelers, Cowboys, Packers.
Not easy.
Not an easy schedule. But anyway, Thanksgiving will be full of football in the NFL.
Yes.
Are you looking forward to that at all?
I'll be at work. I'm sure we'll have some games on over there. I'm sure we'll have a nice hearty potluck situation over at KWCH. Britain's making breakfast casserole, I heard, so that's good.
We have one college game, Ole Miss at Mississippi State, if you're interested in that. And then Friday, we have a very good schedule on tap for
A
you.
bevy.
TCU and Oklahoma. Big game in the Big 12. Oklahoma will win, and they'll be most likely they'll be in the mix. But it's Oklahoma State that's kind of in the driver's seat. You've got Iowa at Nebraska. You've got Texas Tech at Texas. That certainly is a big game. And then you have a couple games late. Oregon State at Oregon on Friday.
It's rivalry week. We got Michigan, Ohio State Saturday.
That's Saturday. Some big game. We're going to have a lot of fun picks coming up on the Wednesday show.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Well, we'll make the picks.
And then I think there's an NFL game Friday too, right? The Jets.
Yeah, on Prime.
Good.
You
Good
know
for
what?
them.
If I was Duda and I'd had this kind of a week, I would have called in. And I would have made some kind of concession. I would have, like with my fantasy football team. I'm 2-8. Now I'm going to beat Virgil this week to go to 3-8, but it's not going to matter. I've had an embarrassing year.
Well, it just goes against what we think we know about Jason. He's not a dig in his heels guy. It's like, whatever, not going to lose any sleep, nothing's a big deal. But when he's bad at picks, he's grasping. He's like, I'll do better and I'll get better and you guys are in trouble, when he should just be washing his hands of this too.
Football guy.
He
You know,
thinks
you have a hard time selling yourself as football guy when you're 0-8.
Well, he overthinks it. It's not that hard. Like I said, Texas going into Iowa State and winning that game comfortably, not difficult to kind of predict. Now, would we have been stunned if Iowa State hung in? No, but more
No,
likely
wait a
than
minute.
not.
That was a 9.5-point line. Texas won by 10.
Right.
And Iowa State was right there. Until
They covered,
late.
didn't they?
Until late. That's a hard game. I don't know where you're going with that. You had some lucky picks. Don't be patting yourself too much on the back.
Well, I feel bad about picking the Steelers because their offense is terrible.
So is Cleveland.
I know, but their defense is slightly better.
Now, Pittsburgh's defense is really good.
Right, I get it.
All right, Max, time for a break. We're going to come back, talk more high school football. Jackson Voth from Cheney, who had a remarkable game. He has a lot of remarkable games. He's certainly a top 11 football player in the state of Kansas this year. We'll talk to Jackson Voth yet. They are the Cheney Cardinals are playing for the 3A title Saturday in Hutchinson against Topeka Hayden. Stay with us.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Jackson Voth joins us from Cheney. The Cardinals headed to the 3A title game coming up Saturday in Hutchinson at Gowan Stadium against also unbeaten Topeka Hayden. Jackson, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. We're very happy to have you on. We've talked to your coach a few times this season. It's been a remarkable season, to say the least, for Cheney. You'll be thinking about this the rest of your life, this season you've had. So you fall behind in the first game against Sandale, 22-0. You come back and win that one in overtime. Just to try to top yourselves, I guess, you fell behind 24-0 to Andale on Friday night with a trip to the state title game on the line. What kept you going in that one?
Honestly, I just think it was our resiliency kind of as a team. I love our team because when we get to the locker room and we're down in these situations, no one's ever down. Everything's always positive. Everyone's always positive, and we got some great leaders on the team who's always picking people up and making sure we're going in the right direction.
So what were those conversations like? How would you compare them? Were they the same when you're down 22-0 versus 24-0 when you've already rallied and beaten that team once? I mean, kind of take us into the locker room a little bit and who was saying what and kind of what the overall message was both times.
Well, like when we came in the second time, Kaysen was like, we've been here before. We just got to play a little bit harder. And then I was kind of saying the same thing of how, we're just getting punched in the mouth, but, this is going to be a dog fight, so we just got to punch back. And then Coach Wehrman came in and pretty much said the same thing, that just in the first half of the second game that Andale was kind of being the bullies. And we were just sitting back and taking it. And he's like, if you guys want to continue on, we gotta flip it. And so that was pretty much what was said.
Jackson, both our guests from Cheney's had, as I've said on the show now a few times, just an incredible year as a receiver and a part of Cheney's defensive backfield. So that's one of the advantages. I'm sure you love playing both ways. That doesn't happen at the bigger schools, the bigger high schools. But at 3A schools, that's often the case. How much do you relish the opportunity, Jackson, to be on the field as much as you are?
I love it, and I'm so grateful to our coaches and my dad when growing up for, playing us both sides of the ball. And I do realize how lucky we are to be a 3A school and play both sides. I know that's pretty common at 3A, but not common in the upper classes, like you said.
So,
which do you like most? I'm going to follow up on that. Which do you enjoy playing the most? Which do you think is your future as a football player?
I would say my future is definitely offensive. Picking a favorite's hard because I love making tackles on defense, but offense is also really fun. I guess I would have to say offense would probably be my favorite.
So I guess we'll talk about the elephant in the room. 19 catches against Andale for you, which ties a state record. So, those not a lot of deep passes, or at least the stats indicate it. So what did you kind of see as your role in the offense in coming back? Was it just moving the chains one play at a time kind of thing, or how did you look at that?
Yeah, it was definitely just kind of take what they give us, because they were in man-to-man a lot, and we knew that they would have a good rush, and our line did a phenomenal job, and Josh did a great job just dispersing the ball to everyone. But just kind of my role is just kind of to get open. We didn't need big chunk plays against them, and we just needed a few yards every play, and that was my role.
Jackson Voth, our guest from Cheney. Coach Wehrman, Shelby Wehrman, has said that you're a coach on the field. So I want you to put that hat on to answer this question. What has made Shelby Wehrman so successful in building this kind of a program at Cheney?
I think it's going to be his relationship with his players and how much time he really puts in as a coach. He goes above and beyond. I have a relationship with him that will go far beyond just football. And I think he has that same relationship with every single person on the team. It's not just the starters, and it's not just the guys who play. He has that with everyone, even the underclassmen. And he's just done a really good job of also kind of setting the foundation each year and never letting us get satisfied with what we have and never letting us think we're good enough or think we can't get better.
So I work for Channel 12, and you talked to us after that first Andale win and said, you saw it from day one. You called your mom and said, this group is different. Obviously, you turned out to be right about that, and now you've gotten to the state championship game. But what did you see then at the beginning of the season that made you know that, and what have you seen over the course of this season that has kind of reinforced those beliefs?
I think it was just the first day, just the excitement that everyone had, It wasn't just the seniors or just the juniors that were bought in. It was everyone, the freshmen, the sophomores. They were just all bought in. And, throughout the season, football's long. It's hard. It's hard on your body. And not one time did I ever see someone giving up or quitting, when times would get hard. So I think that really is what it was.
Jackson Voth, our guest. So I know you got this huge game coming up Saturday against Topeka Hayden over at Gowan Stadium in Hutchinson. But what do you think? What do you think your football life is going to look like after this year, Jackson?
Well, I plan on going to New Mexico State to play for Coach Kill.
Jerry Kill.
Yep. And I'm extremely excited, extremely grateful that he's given me the opportunity for that. So I plan on being down there. Whatever happens after that happens.
Well, that's awesome because Jerry Kill has done an incredible job, and he has a couple other Kansans on that staff. So you'll kind of feel at home down in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
Is it in Las Cruces?
Yeah.
My son doesn't know that. I hope you did, by the way.
Yeah, it's in Las Cruces.
So talk about just the emotion of the Andale wins and how you kind of take that forward into this week and use it, I assume, to your benefit against a team like Topeka Hayden, who is just as difficult as anyone you faced.
Just the excitement level of it, kind of realizing that, kind of proving ourselves right, I guess. We could take this two ways. Take it as we could use this as motivation, which is what we're going to do, especially with our coaches. So I think we're just going to keep using this motivation to go win a state title.
Jackson Voth, our guest. We had Landon Renberger on from Derby. We've got a lot of area teams that are trying to win state titles this weekend, and I love that. We asked Landon what his week is like and what the Derby week is like because it's Thanksgiving week as well. What's it like at Cheney this week?
Are you asking for what we're doing throughout the day?
Yeah, what's it going to be like? Do you get a little time away with family? Do you practice every day? How's that all look?
So our practices are in the morning, so we'll get time throughout the day. They start at around noon, and they're just about 2 or 3 hours. And then on Thanksgiving, we're actually having a breakfast, like a whole community breakfast. The whole community's invited, and we're gonna all eat breakfast together, have a practice, and then you get the rest of the day to go spend time with your family.
Well, just incredible stuff. That atmosphere Friday night. I know the atmosphere for the first Andale game was off the chart, but even more people jammed into your town and your stadium. How did Cheney handle having that many people at the football game?
Our community did a great job. They brought in extra bathrooms, and they let people in an hour and 15 minutes before the game. I'm pretty sure people tailgated too, brought in extra cops. Our community did everything they could, and they definitely came out to support, and I'm so grateful for that.
All right, good stuff, Jackson. We appreciate it. We expect 20 catches or more this week, right? Just kidding. Best of luck in the 3A championship game, Cheney versus Topeka Hayden, Saturday, 1 o'clock kick over at Gowan Stadium in Hutchinson. Thanks again, Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks.
All right. That's a really nice stadium in Hutch. I'm tempted to go to Pittsburgh, but I'll probably not do that. It's a little longer drive.
5A?
May go over to 3A. I don't know yet. That'd be pretty ambitious.
Yeah, you want if your friend Weston Schartz wins a state title, you'd want to be there.
That's a long way.
It is, but it's not that bad.
3 hours.
Big deal.
Are you going?
I don't know. If you go, I'll go.
Well, then how are we going to get back for Survivor Series?
I don't know. Maybe we won't.
What time's Survivor Series?
7.
Yeah, we could probably. We'll think about it. I don't know. You know me. The thought is great.
Right.
The execution
never happens.
Sometimes falls apart.
More often than not, yeah.
Right. It's a busy weekend. Lots going on.
Quite a bit.
I don't know. A lot of driving. Any thoughts on the drive from here to Minneapolis?
Not a whole lot. Iowa wasn't smelling its best yesterday, but
What was the problem in Iowa?
we won't
The whole
hold that.
state of Iowa.
Pretty much.
Really?
Quite a bit of it.
Huh.
I don't know what was going on in Iowa, but
So now you're knocking an entire state down.
I'm sure they feel the same way about Kansas. But I love Iowa. Iowa's a nice state. It's just smell-wise, yesterday, not in peak form.
Huh.
Drive's good. I enjoy the drive.
Sure it wasn't something in your car?
Yeah, because when we got out, it was worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know how you could drive through an entire state.
Well, I'm not saying it smelled bad the entire way, but for a significant portion, it wasn't great. But
I don't know if I'm buying that.
I
or
love
not.
Iowa. I love what they have
I don't
to
know
offer.
if I'm buying it.
Big fan of Van Meter, the birthplace of Rapid Robert Bob Feller. Good stuff.
Yeah, good for you. 869-1240. No one calls, but that's okay. We don't. I've gotten to the point where when we have a caller, I almost think no.
Not worth it.
This show's gone through a lot of twists and turns. We're going to celebrate 8 years here on December 1. And when we started, we had the likes of Pastor Mike and Dennis and so many others who
Dan Barber,
who participated on the show, and we enjoyed that. They became a part of the fabric
absolutely.
of the show. Now, you have your few.
We got KU Pat.
KU Pat Skinner called a few times last week.
We got Jim.
Jim 35 or 87 or whatever number he's going by.
88 now, 89 next year, I assume.
Well, I don't know about any of that.
I do. That's his age.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, the Cardinals today bring in Lance Lynn, former Cardinal. I have mixed feelings. If they get two better pitchers, then I'm okay with it. But I gotta see what Mozeliak does. General Manager John Mozeliak, Director of Player, whatever he is,
Dobo.
Vice President of the Cardinals. I gotta see what I gotta see what he does.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if
kinda
they
where,
bring in the Japanese right-hander and
not Yamamoto,
and trade for Dylan Cease, then this is a fine move for the back of the rotation. You get a lot of innings. You got a reliable guy who can go out and pitch.
Don't need him to start a playoff game. Don't need him to start a playoff game if you were to make it that far.
Lance Lynn's had very good years in the big leagues.
Yeah, but
he had a bad year last year because he gave up a lot of home runs.
But that wasn't a fluke, right? He hadn't given
We'll see.
He hadn't given up many home runs, as many in the past, but it was location.
We'll see. We'll see if he can
locate his
correct that.
fastball.
Still has good velocity.
Yeah, still strikes out some guys.
Loves to throw the fastball. More than a strikeout an inning in his career, even last year.
Right.
So some of the numbers, they don't worry you. You don't think, well, he's lost it. He doesn't have any ability anymore.
I would. From the outside looking in, I would say he's lost it.
Well, we'll be happy to prove you wrong. Maybe they signed Yamamoto and trade for Shane Bieber. And then you have that starting rotation that includes Steven Matz, Miles Michaelis, Lance Lynn, Shane Bieber.
You think you'll be in the mix for Yamamoto?
Well, yeah, I think you got to be. Cardinals still have a lot of money to spend.
Would you like Emmanuel Clase? I'd like to.
No, we don't want
unload him.
Emmanuel.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
we don't want him.
Who's
If you're wanting to get rid of him, we don't want him.
No, we picked up Scott Barlow. I'd like him to be our closer, and I'd like to get something in return for Clase.
Well, Class A's got a better arm than Scott Barlow.
Right, but if we're going to have a surplus of late inning arms down there, let's use one to our
We'll
advantage.
give you Dylan Carlson and Tommy Edman and a prospect or two
We'd think about it.
for Shane Bieber and somebody else.
Yeah, we'd think about
Class
it.
A.
Probably have to take Trevor Stephan in that case.
Well, we'll give you, you get an outfielder, you get a second baseman, you get a prospect, probably give you a good prospect, although not Victor Scott. I'm not trading him for anything.
I had a trade on the table.
I feel like Victor Scott's going to be a National League All-Star.
He might be.
Am I overblowing that?
Depends on how much he hits.
If he hits 275, he'll be a National League All-Star because he'll steal 80 bases and he'll play Gold Glove defense.
And he'll be exciting and he'll get people's attention.
I got a much better future than you do.
Perhaps.
Yeah, you're finally admitting it.
I don't know. I don't know how some of these young Guardians will play in their third years of
Listen, I'm
exposure.
as nervous about it as you can possibly be. Because I could see him bringing Michael Waka and some other clown.
Let's get the
in.
band back together.
Well, why not?
Why not? Is there any other former Cardinals out there still hanging on?
Well, I'm sure there are.
Retread
I
guys?
have to think about it, but I'm sure there are starting pitchers that have Jack Flaherty. I guess you could bring him back.
Doesn't seem like he'd want to be
Jordan
back.
Montgomery.
Yeah.
He seems like he wants to go to Texas. Who could blame him? Sounds like Texas is going to be a major player for Shohei.
I'd like to get Leody Taveras from the Rangers.
That's so minor. That kind of stuff, I wouldn't even say it.
Why?
If my target is Leotis Taveras,
Leody Taveras.
whatever his name is, if that's my target,
He's a really good center fielder.
I wouldn't even say that on a show.
He's really good. But they've got Wyatt Langford. They've got Evan Carter. They've got Adolis Garcia.
I wouldn't even mention.
So they can trade an outfielder.
Let's get to our friend Peggy O'Donnell, who joins the show. Hello, Peggy.
Hi, Bob and Jeff. I was traveling to an
Hello.
appointment for old time's sake. I turned on your show, and you just mentioned missing Pastor Mike, and it just meant so much. I had to call in and thank you for remembering him and tell you we're keeping his legacy alive. We're excited for the Chiefs game tonight. We watch it in honor of him.
Well, the Chiefs.
So,
Absolutely.
And I hope if Pastor Mike hears this, he'll chuckle. The Chiefs have done nothing since when? Since his unfortunate passing.
Yeah, nothing but win.
And he longed for them to win for
I
so
know.
long. And there has to be a connection there, right? There's a reason. This is
There
all
has
for
to
Pastor
be.
Mike. I'm just going to say it.
I know. We always think this. It's like crazy that he passes on the Super Bowl, that they win, and then they've gone two more times. And, I don't know what they know and what they don't in heaven, but he created a fan base for our family, and we just keep cheering him on for him and his memory. So it just was so special.
Well, I'm sure
that
you'll
you-
be. Yeah,
we always love Pastor Mike.
I'm sure you'll be gathering tonight with your
Yes.
family to watch the Chiefs and the Eagles, right?
Yes, it's a big game. You're right. Remake of Super Bowl, and I turned on to listen to you guys sometimes when I travel for old time's sake, and I was like, thank you for saying you missed him. That meant a lot. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate
you.
you as well. Thank you for calling.
Sure. You guys take care and have a blessed Thanksgiving.
You
All
too.
right,
Thank
there's,
you.
Pastor Mike's wife.
Yeah,
Peggy.
beautiful. That makes everybody feel good.
So yeah, I think Pastor Mike he's in the Sports Scholars Hall of Fame, and if there were such a thing, he's badly missed.
Well, if it were,
Sports Talk Radio in this community has not been as good
if it was,
without him.
if
And
it was
Dennis.
a Wichita-based,
Would you let me finish?
yeah, you've only finished about 4 times since I started
I
talking.
mean, I've got these great thoughts, and you keep
yeah, well,
interrupting.
you already said everybody's name.
Now, what do you have?
I was going to say if it was a Wichita-based Hall of Fame, it would be the Pastor Mike Radio Callers Hall of Fame.
What about Dennis?
Dennis, I love Dennis. Pastor Mike and Dennis. Maybe just all of them.
Well, they're the two.
Right.
They're the distinguishable guys because no matter what show you were listening to, they'd call.
Correct.
We're not claiming them to be ours. They love listening to sports talk radio in this community. And if you had a show, you feel the same about them as we do, although I think they had a little bit of a better feel for us. Just a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, that's my feeling.
Maybe you, but
Yeah,
Dennis,
you they didn't feel much for you.
I mean, Pastor Mike did it ultimately. I don't know about
He
Dennis.
came around on you. Dennis, I'm not sure knew who you were.
Maybe not.
Oh, when I get on a roll, it's
Are
something.
you on a roll?
It's something
This
to
is
see.
you on a roll right now. Okay.
It's something to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I get it moving, you know,
Yeah, I
there's
guess.
a rhythm to this whole thing.
I'll be on the lookout. If this is what you think a roll is, then
There's a rhythm
I'll
to
have
this.
to pay closer attention.
Sometimes the rhythm I got the rhythm in me.
Rhythm is going to get you.
Yeah. And it's too bad that music hit because I could go another hour.
Well, maybe we can arrange that.
But I won't because we have to get out of here for the Zach Gelb Show, which you can hear next on KFH. Thanks to everybody for listening. Landon Renberger from Derby. Jackson Voth from Cheney, our guest today. We got a big show tomorrow. We hope you'll tune in. Have a good night.